All right, here's the important thing to understand about fulfillment is that it is a process and there is a formula, what I call the fulfillment formula, the aptly named. And the way that it works is this. First, I want you to understand that there are these imperatives in your brain given to you by evolution, and you are going to be emotionally rewarded for doing certain things and emotionally punished for not doing other things. And that's where fulfillment comes in. When you put yourself in an evolutionary context, you're going to understand why the formula is what the formula is. So I'll quickly give you the formula and then explain it in context. So the formula goes like this. You're going to work really hard to gain a set of skills that allow you to serve not only yourself, but other people. Okay? Now, why is that the formula? So first of all, it's very important to understand that growing up on the plains of the savannah, you would have had to work really hard to stay alive, to feed your family. So you had to face tremendous danger, massive obstacles. And so nature only has two ways to get you moving, and that is pleasure and pain, punishment, reward. So when it wants behavior, it's going to reward that by making it feel amazing. And if it doesn't want behavior, then it's going to make sure that if you're engaging in it, it sucks. And if it wants you to do something and you don't do it, that will also suck. So this is where pleasure and pain come in, and where you have to really understand why this cycle is so deeply embedded in your brain. So because from an evolutionary standpoint, working hard was necessary for survival, then working hard has to feel good. And conversely, if you're not working hard, then you're going to feel a deep sense of unease. So that's why I say that the first step in the fulfillment formula is that you're going to have to work really hard to gain a set of skills. Now, the reason that you're working hard is because if you don't work hard, even now in a modern context where you can probably get away without putting that much time and effort into something, the reason that fulfillment is going to demand it is because from an evolutionary standpoint, you needed to have that embedded in your brain, the directive to work hard to accomplish these things. So working hard really is its own reward, Dad, something that he used to tell me all the time when I was a kid, and he's absolutely right. It is truly ingrained in us, even though we sometimes fight and don't want to do it, and we also have the impulse to chill and lay on the couch. But if you're not working hard, you will feel a deep sense of unease. All right, so we're going to work hard to gain a set of skills. Now, the set of skills is really about serving the group. So we know that humans are a creature that leverages culture. So many other animals are hardwired. And so a horse, when it's born, 20 minutes later, it's doing all the things that a horse can do. But humans are different than that. So we take this long period of gestation, followed by this long infancy. And in all of that, we are going through these different phases of development. And around the ages of 11 to 15, you go into this drinking deeply from the culture moment, where it's not just about your environment anymore, it's about the actual culture and taking in that information. So you're going to gain a set of skills that matter to you and matter to the group. Okay, and that's the part of culture. So you're working really hard to gain the set of skills that matter to you and the group, something that's exciting to you. You just enjoy doing it. That's very important for fulfillment. And then it allows you to serve not only yourself, but the group. Because we're a social creature, we of course need to be rewarded for doing things for the group, and we're going to be punished for not doing things for the group in our own minds. Okay, that's very important. If you're not contributing to the group, you will have this sense of meaninglessness. And this is where meaning and purpose come in. I'm doing something not just for myself, but for other people. It is ingrained in your mind to do that. Okay, so you get this set of skills. Now, this is where passion comes in. You want to be developing a set of skills that you're deeply passionate about, but understand passion also is a process. So you start with something you find interesting, you engage with it. If the more you engage with it, the more fascinating it becomes. Then we're going to go down the process of gaining actual mastery, doing the boring, difficult, repetitive tasks required to truly master that thing in a way that the group values. Now, when you do that, you get into a passion feedback loop, even though it is boring and difficult at times. as you get better at this thing that matters to the group gives you feedback. And that feedback, when it's positive, feels wonderful. Thank you for whatever your contribution is. Oh my gosh, it really matters. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Which makes you want to do more, which you know to get that feedback more, you're going to need to go get better at that thing. And that's how you get people in these virtuous cycles. You're working really hard to gain a set of skills that gets the group excited about your contributions, which make you feel good about yourself, which make you want to get even better at that thing so that you can contribute even more to the group. And that is fulfillment. There's all this meaning and purpose behind it. You're doing it to serve other people. It's bigger than yourself. And now you get the neurochemical cocktail that you've been looking for by doing that formula. That's fulfillment. Fail to optimize for fulfillment at your own peril.
Think about your life along 6 dimensions. So the goal is this: you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to have a life in 3 years that justifies its suffering. That's the goal. So you can invent the damn life, but you have to think what you would be satisfied with, so you wouldn't be all bitter and resentful. It's like, okay, what do you want from your family? What do you want from your friends? How are you going to educate yourself? What do you want for your career? How are you going to use your time outside of work? How are you going to handle drugs and alcohol and other temptations like that? How are you going to keep yourself mentally and physically healthy? And these are open questions, like you get to answer them. The idea is you can have whatever you want, but you have to figure out what it is. It has to be realistic, and you have to figure out what it is. It's okay, so now develop a vision. What's your life going to be like in 3 to 5 years? So you write it down. Your bad habits and your resentment and your bitterness and all of that, your procrastination gets completely out of hand, and you auger down, and you're in your own personal version of hell in 3 to 5 years. What does that look like? Well, everyone knows that. It's like everyone can look into the future and think, well, if I keep going on this dark path, this is where I'll end up. Well, then you've got a little hell outlined for yourself to run away from, and you got a little heaven outlined for yourself to run towards, and then you're motivated. Because sometimes, you're just hopeful. I would like a good thing to happen. It's like, yeah, but I'd like to drink half a bottle of whiskey tonight too. It's like, so which is it going to be? Well, just being hopeful about the future might not be enough, but then you think, oh, I see, like, there's that little hell thing that I outlined that's waiting for me. And maybe I'm afraid of taking the next step forward because it's demanding and challenging. It's like, yeah, I'm afraid of that, but I'm way more afraid of where I might end up if I don't get my act together. And people should be. That's why there are conceptions of hell in so many religions. It's like, hell's a real place. Whether it's eternal, that's a whole different question. Whether it's waiting for you in the afterlife, that's a whole different question. But if you've never met anyone in hell, you haven't lived very long. You haven't had your eyes open. But most of the time you should think, where am I falling short of the ideal? My own ideal. Doesn't have to be one that someone puts on you. Where am I less than I should be? Where am I bitter? Where am I making the world a worse place than it has to be? Like, you ask yourself those questions, you'll be in for a big shock. You say, well, what would happen if you stopped doing that? Stop saying things that make you weak. Stop telling lies that you know to be lies. Stop doing things you know to be useless and counterproductive. Aim high, adopt some responsibility, and then see what the hell happens.